Beatris Rosas y Dedan Wacuiri con YurpTV.
What would you want us to do if it happened to you? What would you do if it happened to you? What would you want us to do, huh? If it happened to you, what would you do if it happened to you? Cause you could be George Floyd, I could be Mike Brown, he could be Cedric Richards, she could be Sandra Bland. What would you want us to do if it happened to you? What would you do if it happened to you, huh? Dedan Wacuiri.
Alright.
Miss Beatris,
That's right.
how you doing, man? Y'all welcome back to Dedan, welcome back to YurpTV. Miss Beatris, welcome to YurpTV. It's a platform we're interviewing local influential people with social issues, all the type of, and especially with Dedan here. Your story is definitely compelling. Let's start off with where you're from.
Well, originally, I am from Texas.
Texas.
My family is from Mexico.
Okay.
I have been in North Carolina for almost 30 years. I have been on this property since 1992.
And as we say property, what?
The property that we're sitting on. So
This is Bailey, North Carolina,
This is
right?
Bailey, North Carolina. The neighborhood that we're in is referred to or well known as Little Mexico.
And why is that?
Is Little Mexico because most of the people that live here, about I would say 98% of the people that live in this neighborhood are of Mexican descent, if not Mexican.
Okay.
My family purchased 100 acres on this road back in, I would say, the mid or late 80s. And on this property, they divided it amongst my mother's family. So it's 10 brothers and sisters.
Okay.
They put aside 7 of those 100 acres for a church, which is still on the property, and that most of us are still members of. So I guess I'll begin with my story and why you're here today.
A little bit about the history of the area we're in. Have you guys being it's called Little Mexico, I'm sure it's surrounded by other nationalities, right?
Outside of the street?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, mostly white people.
Okay. Okay.
Mostly white people.
Can you speak on the history you've had with those people? They're very kind. Okay. You said they're kind to you?
No, I said not the very friendly to our kind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they refer to our neighborhood as the ghetto.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So, the ghetto.
So
I don't understand where that comes from.
For the past 30 years, have you had any run-ins with these racist people?
With the white peoples?
Yes, ma'am. With the white peoples.
Myself, no, but my husband, yes. My husband got ran down with the gun before.
Really?
One of our neighbors. Yeah, for just simply. I mean, we all grew up here.
Yeah.
So he was being a kid, and one of the neighbors ran him down, and he thought he was gonna shoot him.
What happened after that?
He let them go and told them that if he saw them again, that he would kill them.
Wow.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, we really don't have issues. We obviously, that there's a divide. Obviously, that there's tensions there. Obviously, I mean, as I've gotten older, I would say it's changed. Not necessarily that it's gotten better, but it's changed. It's changed some.
Okay.
I think I was one of 3 Hispanics that was in this area that went to school here when I first got here. So now, I mean, we obviously have a whole neighborhood. It's called Little Mexico. But when I first came here, there was only 3 Hispanics attending my school.
How did you meet my boy Dedan here?
Oh, Dedan. I met him. I held an event at our church right after my cousin was murdered. private police. And Dedan came. He was invited by someone, I believe, from the NAACP. And that's how I met Dedan.
Okay. So I guess we'll go ahead and get into it. Let's get into exactly why we're here. The situation around your cousin. Let's start it all the way from the beginning. Let's try to leave out any details for the people that's watching. So what exactly happened?
Oh, well, three white ladies, white girls. I don't want to say ladies because they're anything but ladies. Called and made some allegations against my cousin. And it seemed like the whole police force came and they trespassed onto the property. I mean, I can't call it anything else than that. They had no warrant. They really didn't have a reason to be up here, other than some allegations that were made by 3 drug addicts that ended up getting him murdered.
Wow.
And I call it murdered because they didn't turn on their blue lights. They didn't announce themselves. They just came onto the property, and next thing you know, he's getting shot at by people that are giving, I think they gave him a total of like 26 seconds to really understand what was going on. And that they were police officers, but I don't even know that he even got to be able to process that information in that amount of time. Because when they came onto the property, and if you look out the window, I mean, he lives on 4 acres of our family property.
Okay.
His house sits back 2 acres deep. So that's how long his driveway is. They came onto the property. He had had an altercation, obviously, with these white women.
What do you know the ins and outs behind that?
I'm sorry?
Do you know the ins and outs behind what happened with those?
Not really, because I mean they were never investigated.
Wow.
I don't think the case, from my understanding, has gone too far. As far as talking to them girls, I mean, nothing got done. If I were to call the police and make false allegations against you, and you would have gotten murdered, I would believe I would be in jail. My name would have probably been given out. An investigation maybe would have taken place. But in this case, they weren't. So I don't really necessarily know what all happened, other than what the police claim happened.
So you're saying the police just came onto his property and started shooting into his house?
No, they shot into my house.
Oh, shot into your house.
But they killed him. So they came onto the property, from what we can see the videos that are on YouTube. They came onto the property after talking to these women that had said that he had attempted to rape one of them when they went to the gas station at 4:30 in the morning to purchase beer, which around here they stopped selling beer at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Facts.
So at 4:30 in the morning, that's not happening. That's not true.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And then on top of that, when they're talking to the dispatcher, they're hyping up the story and saying that he had drugs in the car. So I'm thinking.
Did they ever find drugs?
No, they did not. From my understanding, they didn't find any drugs. But they came onto the property. They didn't. From my understanding, they didn't try to do like any form of investigation. They let the girls lead them to where my cousin was sitting at.
Wow.
Which is on his property, which is right here behind my property. They brought him onto the property. When they get out their vehicles, they start shouting. And in the video, you can't really understand what the officer is telling him.
You have to send me that video so I can add it to the interview. That'd be dope.
Yeah. And from what you could make out from the video, because now there were 7 officers. Only 3 of them turned on their cameras. the other 7 videos or 5 videos that you see, some of that, the image is not there. What you see is you see nothing, but you hear the background voices and the cops, talking to each other. In the video that you do see Johnny, you see him for just very short period of time, which is him getting out of his vehicle or walking next to his vehicle. We don't really know if he was sitting in his vehicle, where exactly he was, but from where you're looking at that video, you see him and he has his hands up and he's kneeling. And as he is kneeling, you can hear them saying stuff to him. And it looks like he's complying with what we can make out, which is get down. And he's getting down and they're shooting him at the same time. So then he comes back up and goes back.
Did they, was a weapon found? Were they saying?
They claim they found a weapon. Do I believe that he had a weapon? I don't believe so. Did I see a weapon in the video? I didn't see one. But
is he known for carrying weapons?
Is he known for? He didn't own a weapon, from my understanding.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
that's tough there.
Even still, I mean, he's in his own. He's in his own property.
That's
he's
right.
at his house. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They never identified or signaled themselves to be law enforcement. You see, we're living in a time now where all type of things is happening, and one of the mainstream they push is protecting yourself on your property.
That's
you
right.
see. So I think the question of if he had a weapon at this point would be irrelevant. You know what I mean?
But that's definitely what they were trying to.
But that's something that they continue to spin.
Exactly.
I mean, when you look at Tamir Rice was a 12-year-old. They said he had a weapon and was gunned down by police. You see, so these excuses that we continue to hear are just continual when it comes to black and brown lives. It's something that they always place on the scene. It's something that is going to make this person seem more criminalistic than a human. And make at the end of the day, Jonathan was murdered wrongfully by law enforcement here in Bailey, North Carolina. Yeah.
And that is very true. I mean, when you just had an altercation, let's say he did. Okay. Let's say in that video it shows and he has a weapon, which I didn't see one. But let's say, for
hypothetically,
that he did. One, we're out in the middle of nowhere. Everybody owns a gun. As I just told you the story about my husband.
I definitely will own a gun out
Exactly. And that man chased him down with the gun. Why? Because he felt that even though they weren't on his property, he felt the need to defend whoever's property it was.
Gotcha.
So when you're talking about, we live out in the middle of nowhere. And here, when it starts getting dark, you see nothing. It is pitch black.
Yeah, we're definitely in the country.
Yeah, you definitely.
I grew up in the country, so I know about it.
So the only thing you see is a porch light.
That's right.
And that ain't enough to do nothing for you.
True.
So you just had an altercation with some white women, right? Okay. Now, they're known for making up crap against colored people. This is nothing new.
Oh, this wasn't.
So-
These girls are repetitive.
Well,
when it
I
comes-
don't know if they're repetitive, but I mean they're drug addicts. They're known drug addicts. The
Okay.
police, when they're talking about when they're calling it in and saying and talking to the other police officers, they're like, it's Elizabeth Waldrop. Y'all are familiar with her. How are they familiar with her? Is what my question would be. How are they familiar with this woman, other than what has she done? Well, actually, she has made some false allegations and gotten a man locked up. Let me take that back. But anyhow, so if they're coming onto your property, you just had an altercation with anyone. Let's say, take out the white, just people in general, with some people, and they tell you, which I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just making a story. They say, well, we're gonna call the police, and they're gonna come, or we're gonna call my 3 brothers. Or 7 cousins, whatever, and they're gonna come and beat you, or they're gonna come and shoot you. I mean, we don't really know what happened. So then you're on your property, 2 acres deep, out in the middle of nowhere. It's pitch dark, and you see headlights coming at you. So let's say he had a weapon, which in the video I don't see one, but let's say he did. Would you have a weapon?
I would always have a weapon out here. I'm just saying.
So
That's just me.
if cars are coming at you, you just had an altercation with people,
I agree.
and you were able to and had a weapon, would you then say, well, he shouldn't have had one? Or what was he doing with the weapon?
Let me ask you, how did the police respond after the situation?
After shooting him down?
Yes, ma'am.
They acted as if they were we were criminals. Like we were gonna do them some harm. You're talking about a 60-something-year-old woman came out in a muumuu, and they have a gun. Not no regular gun, but they have an assault rifle pointed at her. Muumuu with bright lights is transparent. If that woman had a tattoo, they could describe it. So what's the need of pointing a gun? You just gunned down a family member of theirs, but yet you continue to point guns at everyone.
I know
That's what they did.
these hostile situations do create. I know you said it was a divide before, but that definitely widens the gap between you and the police. Because then,
Most definitely.
at that point, do you feel like you can trust them?
Do I trust? I didn't trust them before, so I definitely didn't trust them, and I still don't trust them now. No.
So, would you say you fear them?
Do I fear them? I don't want to say I used to. I would say it was a mixture of, but it depends on what kind of fear you're talking about. It was a mixture of anger and fear that they might try to do me some harm, besides the fact that they missed me because they shot into my house 7 times. So besides that, it was like, are they now going to really try to kill me because of the situation that they put me in? They put me in. Am I fearful of them now? No, I'm not. Because at the end of the day, they're just people.
I agree.
That they have an authority that we gave them. So, fearful, maybe I don't think so. I think that if they shoot me dead, I don't know.
That's definitely not a way we should be living in America.
No, we shouldn't live that way.
Yeah, you shouldn't be in fear of
No.
the police. They shouldn't be able to have those type of.
But you're aware
Yeah.
that as a colored person,
definitely-
that's a chance that you take every day
That's
when you
that's
step
true.
out of your home,
That's true.
even in your home,
Yeah,
if depending on the neighborhood that you live in, because they live with it as to get them.
that's right.
So
Yeah. What do you think you can do to help these type of situations? I know sometimes we might seem like we're just a voice or we're just small in a small town, but being with the power of the internet, this can reach a lot of people. How do you feel like your voice can help people who've been through similar situations?
I think my voice can help them see that this needs to stop. That this fear that you're speaking of isn't okay. That we shouldn't have fear anymore. I think that the times are changing, the tables have turned, and I think we don't have to continue to cry for justice anymore. I think we're at a time now, that we need to start demanding justice. And as you see it all throughout this country, that's what people are doing. They're no longer asking, do you want to give it to me? Begging for you to give it to me. Because why? They hide behind their laws. Their laws protect them. They don't protect us. So what is it that we need to do? We need to change that. And how do we do that? It starts now. Because before, when I was speaking about this, I had no hope. There was no hope. Because when you went and you talked to people about your story and told them what happened to you, It was, well, he must have done something.
Mm.
Oh, that's the neighborhood that you lived in.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's why that happened.
Yeah.
And I think now it's come to the point where people are turning around and saying, you know what, that police officer did something wrong.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, I think the Jonathan Ramirez case is important, especially now, you know, with the recent whole thing around Breonna Taylor, the no not warrant, and the particulars around her case. When we look at the things that led up to the murder of Jonathan Ramirez, you know, we again see how insidious, you know, the system is when you have a system that is willing to take the word of some people that are known to be heavily influenced by narcotics, right? And to take their words and not properly do an investigation, but come directly to, you know, that person's house, not going off on the dispatch, but taking the lead of the two individuals that made the complaint. You know what I'm saying? The two individuals that made the complaint led the police officers to this location to really murder Jonathan. And I think that's something that, again, has to be continuously looked at and gone over of how you know, problematic that is. You see what I'm saying? To be led, you know, by two drug users, you know, to a place where somebody is unsuspecting of anything, and then to come on the scene and not say who you are, and then, you know, blindly, because they put a very bright light on him. He didn't know the car in front of him, you see, so he doesn't know how to react. You don't know how to react if it's just a car. You're gonna react like whoever, you see, and then they gun him down. And then when you brought up the question of how they acted after the fact. You have a police force that put this community, that's majority of family members, whose family member lay dead on the ground for hours, under siege. You see, the police, you know, really came out here and contained people from, you know, interacting with their loved one that laid on the ground, or an ambulance service to come out here, because there was numerous people have said that they was yelling to, you know, the police that was called an ambulance, to the point where one officer said they not going to call the ambulance because they felt it was unsafe for EMS workers to come out here.
Wow.
Because it's a community filled with concerned families members of Mexican people. You see what I'm saying? And see, that is the violence that continues to be waged on black and brown people. You know, there is that would not happen in an affluent white neighborhood where some white boy or white person was laying on the ground for hours. It wouldn't even happen that way. The EMS would be automatically called. You see, but no questions was asked. The police took it upon themselves to play judge, jury, and executor, all in a matter of minutes. You see, so it's important, you know, that, you know, people around the Bailey area, around Eastern North Carolina, really, you know, amplify the demands of, you know, the Ramirez family, that, you know, these officers have to be held accountable. You know, people that's involved have to be held accountable. These people are murderers and should be treated like one. Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone going through a similar mother or a similar cousin? I'm sorry, I said similar mother, similar cousin. Someone in a similar situation as you that's had a loved one killed by the police. What advice would you give them? Don't give up.
Don't give up. I think I to a certain point gave up.
How long ago was this?
This was almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years this coming February. So I would say don't give up, because times have changed, and there is some hope out there, and things can change now. Things are different now, and I think that if we come together and say that we're not going to take this anymore and we need things to change, but how do you change that?
Definitely using your voice. Definitely. So are you calling for the arrest of those cops, or what?
Yes.
What would be justice for you?
I think they need to get arrested.
Arrested.
Yeah, they need to get arrested for his murder, but I know that, you know, that's because of the immunity that they have. That might not be a possibility. But at least getting
trial.
murdered, not murder, but charged for firing into my home. Kind of like the Breonna case.
Right, exactly.
The only reason I believe that cop got indicted in that case for firing into the neighbor's apartment, which is the same situation here. They fired into my home when they killed him and almost killed me. So they endangered.
So you were here at the time when they fired into your home?
I was standing right here as the bullets were coming through my wall.
Wow.
And your children were.
My children were here. My husband and my child were asleep in the next room. It was 5:30 in the morning when he got killed. So I was up. I was already making my coffee. I was about to sit down, and as the bullet started coming through my walls, I realized what was going on.
It had to be a frightening situation.
It is, especially when you step outside and you can't recognize the people that are standing, hovering over your cousin's dead body, because there's nothing to identify who they are, other than you see white people and lights. And some of those cars didn't even have headlights on. So you see people coming onto your property, murdering one of your own. So it's something that I don't wish on anyone. But like that case, like the Breonna case, I think that if I could at least have them held accountable, because in this case they fired into my home. I mean, I don't know about Johnny's murder. I mean, it's a murder. But will they be able to be charged for that too? That would be wonderful. But get them to be accountable for something. Even if it is to be held accountable for firing into a home and endangering other lives that had nothing to do with what they were here for.
Yeah. Did they issue a public apology to you or anything?
They haven't even. Actually, this is probably going to be, besides the time that I spoke about it with Dedan, nobody knows what happened here. They kind of, I think for good reason, they don't want to speak about it.
Yeah.
So a public apology? No. They've been asking for my stove, which had bullet holes in it. They're more worried about getting that stove.
So you said they're asking for your stove. They asked you, do you want a new stove? Because bullet holes went into it.
Yeah, because they got shot up. When they shot, obviously, I mean, we live in a mobile home. So the walls are paper thin.
Definitely.
So they went through one side, through another side, but when they came through here, they hit the stove and danced around all over the kitchen floor. So they asked if I was ready to get a new stove. They're worried about the stove. They're worried about the bullet holes on the wall. They're not worried about
The
human
people.
life.
Yeah. What you think would have happened if one of those bullets would have hit one of you innocent people? How do you think they would have handled
The same thing that
that?
happened with Johnny. Nothing.
Nothing. It just would have just carried on and no trial, nothing. There's another innocent person murdered. That's tough. Dedan, what you think about that one?
No, I mean, I think what she said is true.
I think it's part of the job.
Yeah, a lot when I, speak on the realities that colonized people face. Ms. Beatris, she's in that category. Black and brown people are colonized people in this country. We have no power, we have no rights, and there is no democracy in this land for our people. So, and I think this situation shows that when she still has to live in a house that's riddled with bullet holes, a stove that she has to cook on every day to provide food for her family, she has to remember of her cousin's death because there's a bullet hole in it. You know what I mean? It could have easily been her son. It could have easily been Miss Beatris. It could have easily been her husband. So, this is the reality that, we face, that because we live in North Carolina, oftentimes does not get the opportunity to be amplified the way it needs to be on a broader scale, so people can see how terroristic these forces treat our people, whether it's in Bailey or Greenville and things like that. What happened to Miss Beatris, her cousin, and her family is a crime that should be discussed, that should be talked about on a national level. This should not just be something that is just a issue that's maintained to Bailey, but be on a national level to North Carolina, because this murder is similar. It's very similar to everything that happened when we look at the Breonna case. They came unannounced. Nobody knew they was coming. They murdered somebody. They shot into Miss Beatris' home. I mean, she has the bullet holes that she can show that still is marked off. I mean, the bullet holes are still marked off. So it's like, it again shows that these things that we're looking at are not isolated incidences, but things that are continuously happening to our people because we meet state-sanctioned violence in this country.
Your son's where you're right. The youngest one?
Yes, my
Okay.
9-year-old.
How do you feel? Was he ever did he have PTSD after that? 'Cause I know a lot of children have PTSD after things like that. He did?
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah.
We all did.
That's
It took
tough.
me a minute to be able to walk out my back door.
Really?
Took me a minute to be able to sit here on this couch.
That's
It took me a minute to be able to walk in my yard. I mean, you're talking about, like I said before, we all live here. It's all his family, his first cousins, his aunts, his uncles, nieces and nephews. And we walk through the property freely. You know, so it changed. You're talking about a big change. You're talking about, I used to be able to come out there and sit down at 5:30 in the morning, and Johnny would walk up and smoke a cigarette with me and sit there and talk to me up until the point that he had to go to work. That changed.
Why do you think police overstep their boundaries in situations like that, and are able to?
Because their relationship with our people, with black and brown people, is not a relationship of respect or respectability. It's a relationship of power and dominance. You know, that's their relationship to our people. They want to control and dominate over our very existence in this country. And when you look at what happened to Jonathan, you have a call. Well, white women placed a call, which has historically been used to attack black and brown people in this country. White women always have been able to lie on black and brown men, and it causes a reaction with white society that gives the excuse to be able to carry out any kind of act of violence. And we see that today. It happened to Jonathan. White women called, they made a call, said it was assaulted. White people, especially in Bailey, North Carolina, where it's very rural. Bailey, North Carolina is a rural area where probably the majority of the people in Bailey is white people and Mexican people. And because of that relationship in Bailey, white people are allowed, probably more than, you know, there needs to be, to get away with a lot of things here in Bailey, North Carolina. So, you know, when things like this happen, they know that they have a certain ability to do it because they live in a place where they dominating terror is so prevalent over the people that they probably feel like they're in a position where the people are not going to fight back. You see? People are not going to have that ability to fight back, but that's not with everybody. And I think that's what Beatrice is showing. But when you ask about, you know, that relationship, that is their relationship when it comes to our people. It's never has been respectful. It's never been a relationship of anything where they carry out a portion of law where it keeps us safe. It's always been the total opposite.
And I think when it comes to my people, to Hispanic people, to Mexican people, especially here, is that you got to think about most of us, or I'm not, but most are undocumented. They don't, even if we are documented, we don't know the laws. So when they do something to a Hispanic or Mexican, especially in this county, especially in this area, they know that it's not gonna go any further than that.
Yeah.
And I think, and with that being said, I don't want to speak too much, but I think it's important that as colonized African people, we have to understand that it's somewhat our responsibility to uplift and amplify the struggles and the demands of our Mexican brothers and sisters. You see what I'm saying? To give them that kind of backing to where there's some room available or a door open so we can really begin to, you know, collaborate together. Because we fight against the same system. The same thing that affects Mexican people is the same thing that affects colonized African people. So we really have to create that collaboration and that unity to really make sure, you know, that we are able to fight against the things that we fight against on a stronger level.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you, Miss Beatrice, for sharing your story. It's definitely a compelling story. I couldn't imagine that happening to me. I don't know. I'm a little different from you. I would have spit the block one time. Yeah, but definitely respect to what you have going on. Condolences to your cousin as well. Do you have any encouraging words you can say to, like I said earlier, to people that going through similar situations or anybody coming out of any situation that's as drastic as that?
Times have changed and the tables have turned. And we don't need to ask for justice anymore.
Yeah.
We need to make our own.
Respect. What about you, Dedan? Any encouraging words to
I'm
the
gonna
people?
leave it like that.
You gonna leave it like that?
I'm gonna leave it like that. I like that. I'm gonna second that.
You gonna second that?
Yeah.
What you looking to do, man, out of this situation? You looking to get? I know you're looking to get justice.
What Mapinduzi does and what the Coalition Against Racism does is we follow the leadership of Miss Beatrice and her family. Whatever they want to do, however they want to move, is how we're going to move. We're just the custodians of their struggle, of their plight. You see what I'm saying? So we just follow that leadership in that direction. What we hope to see come out of it, is justice for the family. You had the questions, what did you want to see done to these murderers? A murderer belongs in prison, right? You know, and they belong in prison. So we want these people that was involved to be in prison. And we know that the colonial system is not designed for these people to meet justice. You see what I'm saying? But what's also was important is that we lift up Jonathan's name to a point where it also, becomes on the list of those who have been slain by the state-sanctioned violence. So people know what's happening in North Carolina. So, unfortunately, it was unfortunate what happened to Jonathan. And it's unfortunate I had to meet this family through these events. Mm-hmm. But, through these struggles, hopefully, there won't be another Jonathan in Bailey, North Carolina, right, without some kind of resistance movement that comes up and say that we're not gonna take this treatment just standing any kind of way. And right, the people in Bailey, North Carolina know that, they have some family outside of Bailey and Greenwood that stands in solidarity with them, that knows that, there's unity with them. So
respect.
That's what I,
Miss Beatris, where can people contact you? You got social media?
Ooh, that's a difficult thing. I say contact Dedan.
Contact Dedan.
I'm a very private person.
Respect.
I do have Facebook that I share now with my husband. Yeah. So I kind of dibble and dabble in that a little bit, but
gotcha.
This
may go to the whole world. We don't know how many people will watch this. So contact Dedan and Mapinduzi.
Yeah.
All right, right. Let them know where they can find you at, Dedan.
Mapinduzi on Facebook. And it's on IG. I just don't know the IG. But Dedan Wacuiri on Facebook
tighten up
too.
The IG.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
there's some younger comrades that control that.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's
but yeah. So we just justice for Jonathan Ramirez, and we're gonna struggle until we get that.
Definitely.
Yeah. We make sure we put it back.
This one.
Okay.
This is Boulevard.
You want to show them what that
yes.
is?
So
this guy get moved.
That's one. No, it's this one. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So is this one, that one, here.
There's another one there. Wow.
And some of them didn't make it all the way through, so they're on the outside.
Yeah, that's wild.
Them joints come in ankle level,
But they
waist level, head level.
Let's
Look
go
at
to
the
the
stove,
stove. Oh, it's got it.
Hit here. So this is one where it hit here.
Wow. Yeah, somebody could have been standing in the kitchen.
I had just made
You
my
making
coffee.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I went from making coffee to sit down over there, and either way, I mean, it caught me on the way.
This is
and then
this is
here,
Beatrice's brother.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, what's going on?
He seen it too. He walked outside. When he walked outside, he seen his cousin on the ground.
Word.
Yeah.
So you showed up shortly after?
Yeah, after it happened, I walked outside. Like, my niece woke me up, and it was about 5 in the morning. She heard gunshots, but my house faces the road, so I really can't see. Just coming out my front door, I can't see back here.
Gotcha.
So then I walk out, and it's 4 in the morning. It's like usual out here to hear some kind of gunshot talk somewhere. Someone might be drinking. I can't say who it is or what. Why they doing it. Probably just partying. Any normal American that shoots off rounds in their backyard or something.
Right.
Facts.
So then I go back to bed, and my niece runs in like 2 minutes later, like, nah, there's something happening. I hear like yells, like screams. So after that, I come out my front door again, and as I'm coming down my steps, the first time I came out, what I want y'all to know is I didn't see no lights, any cop lights. That would let it any dark neighborhood or somewhere, a dark, place.
So they ain't had their lights on.
I didn't see no lights at the first time I came out. If I would have, came out all the way and see what was going down. But then that second time, as I'm coming down my steps, before I turn my house, that's when I see blue lights light up. So then, my house to where my cousin is at, it's about probably 200 feet. So as I'm coming up my backyard, I see the cop lights and the cops standing over a person. And as soon as I get there, my cousin on his face, on his stomach.
How did that feel, man? Just watching.
I don't know. I think I was in a moment of shock. I was really trying to see. Really, the first thing that went in my mind is seeing all this stuff going around. So all the time on TV, my mind just for some reason it processed where's a gun, So I looked around the
So you
body,
didn't see
and there
no-
wasn't no gun on the floor.
Wow.
So I was like, yo, what's going on? And as I'm doing that, like that's when my uncle and my aunt are trying to run up to him, like asking, where's Johnny? Where's Johnny? And they're really, they're trying to see what's going down. And the cops don't let them run up to their son on the ground.
That's crazy.
Like he's already down, and they're coming out unarmed, but they still have guns pointed at them as soon as they come out,
At the parents.
At the parents, they put it down as soon as I guess they see they're unarmed, and
Right.
But still, he's like trying to ask them where his son is at, because obviously they're parked behind his son's car. So then they come around the car and they see him on the ground, but they don't let them run up to him, So like imagine seeing your son on the ground for like 45 minutes. That's the ambulance wasn't allowed to come up. The ambulance wasn't allowed to pull up because they said they were in a state of could be in danger.
That's tough. That's tough.
So we didn't know what was going down, but like then they turned him over and they put like a white blanket on him, and then after they did that, that's when they let his parents come up to him and like touch him. Like an hour later, kind of maybe from what I was like timing out.
Sound like the media wanted to make sure he was gone.
Yeah, like he won't move it, and all you can see like when they turned him over, just a puddle where he was laying down. That's when they let his dad do a prayer. He had to pull down the sheets from his face to be able to touch his body, They just put their hands on his chest and stuff. That's a spot that his brothers and sisters have to walk past, every day.
Yeah.
You just look at,
Yeah, that's traumatizing.
Yeah, we saw this.
My condolences, man. Definitely, yo.
But I'm saying again, that's why we'll do whatever we got to do for y'all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Respect. Those of you that are watching, make sure you subscribe to the channel YurpTV 252. Also support Miss Beatris in her fight against racism and these crooked police out here. Shout out to Mapinduzi as well. You already heard it here first, man. This is definitely an exclusive story. YurpTV, we gone.
You doing quasi shit? Working on my bankroll. Trying to flip it cause I'm tired of the same mode. Getting richer on these niggas, that's my main goal. That's my main goal. Shit. What you doing, Kelly?
Stacking, tryna lay low. My amigos say I'm at them brand new level. Know the devil tryna get my ass a halo. This the type of